Hello there, so it's been about 10,000 years since I made my last video tutorial, but I'm back, and hopefully I'll be making a few of these. So let me run down quickly what we're going to do. I made this quick block out of what will be a SciFi corridor that we're going to be making in Blender, of course, using the wonderful HardOps plugin. And then we're going to be creating game-ready assets, texturing them on Substance Painter, and finally we'll be taking those pieces into Unity so we can render them and just see how they look. So throughout this course I'm going to be teaching how to do a simple scene like this, and hopefully you'll get to learn something from it. So alright, so first of all, as I mentioned earlier, I made this block out just to see how everything will fit together. And whenever you're going to start working on a project, I will highly recommend that you do something like that. So let me break this down to show you how it's going to be set up. We have a floor tile, which is it's going to be a 2 meter by 2 meter block. Then we have walls, which are also 2 meter long, but they are 3 meters high. And this is because usually a standard character is somewhere between 1.80 meters and 2 meters, more or less, depending on the game. Then we have this sort of a pillar thing that I made, so we can have some variation. We can like try to maybe lengthen this. Of course, it will make more sense once it's textured, but just so you have an idea. We can duplicate the walls and then have a pillar, sort of trying to separate things a little bit. And then we'll have a small corner piece right here. And finally, we have a single tile, ceiling tile, sorry. And we'll have these smaller ones that we sort of need because they fill the gap that this pillar will create, and the same goes for the floor. Can't really see them, but we'll have a 2 by 1 tile. So in total, that's 2 floor tiles, 2 different ceiling tiles, 2 walls, and then the corner piece. So, alright, so let's begin. First of all, I'm just going to get rid of all of this, and we'll just start from scratch. We only need to make one piece of each one. So I'm going to start blocking out the low poly of each model first, and then we'll start making the high poly version on HardOps. So let's see, let's just add a plane. This is going to be our standard floor. Going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make the single tile the 2 by 1 floor. So that's the variant right there. I'm going to duplicate this and then move them up 3 meters. So now we have the ceiling. Let me just turn on back face cooling. So we need to flip this guy, flip the normals. So now it's facing down. You need to do the same with this guy over here. So just select the face, flip normals, and now the ceilings are pointing down and the floors are pointing up. So let's go with the wall now. I'm going to move this here, and always pay attention to where the origin point is. It'll make things easier once you start to build things on the level. So let's just pull this up 3 meters as well, pull it back. So we have our wall there, so let's try to give it an interesting shape. I'm going to press the controller to create the loop cut tool, and with the mouse wheel I'm going to increase the amount of cuts to 3. So with this I'm just going to pull it back a bit. Now I don't really need this one in the middle, so I just select it, press X, and then delete the edge loop. Alright, so now let's pick this guy and this guy here, and with Control B I'm going to bevel them a little bit, sort of like that, so we have something smoother. And we need to do the pillar, so let's just duplicate this again. Now the pillar is only 1 meter long, so I'm just going to pull this back And for this, I don't want the whole thing to be the pillar because it will be too wide. So I'm going to do a loop cut here, maybe like that. Again, get rid of this one. And I'm going to draw a straight line from here to here. So just select both, press F, and we have this polygon which is facing the wrong way. So with W, you have the flip normals. So now it's facing forwards. Now, we don't really need these guys here. So I'm just going to get rid of them. And now I want to fill this. So one way to do it, you can, hold on, sorry. You can select the first edge, and then holding Control, if you press down, it's going to select all the ones in a straight line. Then with Shift, we'll select this one here, press F to create an n-gon to fill it up. Now at this stage, we're not really going to worry about n-gons because we're going to be working on this model with HardOps, creating all different kind of shapes. So once that's finished, then I'm going to start fixing the topology and show you how to clean it up so it can be imported into a game model. But for now, just ignore that. So we'll do the same here. Here we go. So now we have our pillar piece. And I guess we can, well, we need to do, have the ceilings. So the only one we're missing is the corner. For that, I'm going to duplicate the wall, bring it over here maybe, and duplicate it again. I'm going to rotate on the Z-axis this piece. You'll get what I'm doing in a moment. So here, so this is the gap I want to fill with the corner. So I'm going to join these two, then select this edge, and with W we can bridge these edge loops. So this is the part I care about. I want to make it round, so what I'm going to do is add an edge loop on the center. Then I'm going to just look this from the top to pull this down a little bit to the side. Hold up, let me 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 over there. All right, and then with Control B, we're going to bevel this somewhere around there, and then increase the number of cuts. That. All right, so as you noticed, the distance between here and here and the other ones, it's not really the same, so I want to fix that. So I selected this edge and this vertex, and I'm going to press G twice to edge slide a little bit here. Well, I guess I could make it with an exact measurement, so let's just edge slide again and then hold Control so I can slide it an exact amount, so somewhere around there. So if you look at the top left, you can see that the bird slide says the 0.4. So we'll go with that. And let's do the same here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And maybe this one too. So just gonna do it 2 this time here. 1, 2. There we go. So that's more or less okay. And we need to fill this little gap over here. So in this case, the floor and the ceiling are just going to be part of the corner piece. You can separate them if in your game you want to make the ceiling higher or whatever. But for this scene, we don't really need to do that. So we'll fill this here. So to do so, I'm going to enable snap and enable snapping with the grid. So what we can do is select this little guy here, extrude, and then it's going to snap to the grid, so we can just snap it here. Don't really need this anymore. And then I'm going to start filling this out. Just select all of these and fill. And since I'm a lazy person, I'm just going to duplicate this guy, move it up, and flip normals. Alright, so lastly, we don't really need these walls anymore. Just going to remove doubles so that this piece is merged with this. Alright, so the origin point is right here on this guy, so I'm just going to move it back a bit. And we are done. So these are all the pieces that we're going to be using to build this little scene. So, alright, I guess that we are ready to start working on this with HardOps. So, I guess we'll start with the floor, but let me just let me add smoothing groups to this so it looks nicer. So with HardOps, a really quick an easy way to do so is to just select the piece, press Q for the HardOps menu, and for now you can just use the S sharpen. And we'll do the same here and here. Now, the difference, you'll notice that here you have S sharpen and C sharpen. Now, there's a difference. If you do S sharpen, it's going to mark the edges as sharp, like here, based on the angle. And then, of course, you can just go to edit mode and say, maybe I want to select this edge and this edge. I can also press Q, set sharp, and they will add a smoothing group over there. But if you use the C sharpen, what instead is going to do is also going to add a bevel modifier that is going to work around those areas. So now if I press Q again and select B width, I can, as you can see, increase or decrease the amount of beveling around those edges. So this is pretty cool, pretty useful, but we're not going to be using this on the low poly models. We're only going to use them on the high poly. So for now, let's just revert and flip this like this. All right, so let's start with a simple piece, right? Let's make a floor tile. So I think I'm going to duplicate this and take it to another layer so I can work on it. And let me just get rid of these menus. And here we go. So I'm going to be using a combination of HardOps and Boxcutter to create shapes on this. Now, I found that working directly on a plane doesn't really work that well sometimes, so what I'm going to do is just for this piece, I'm going to extrude it, maybe take it down a notch. Now, as you can notice, the normals are inverted, so I just select everything and press Ctrl N, and it will recalculate the normals so that they're pointing outwards. So now we have a shape that we can work on. We're going to start doing some stuff on it. So I haven't really thought of a design I want to do. I'm just going to start doing stuff on it and see what happens. So yeah, let's give it a go. So for this piece, yes, I'm going to use the C sharpen, and for now I'm going to increase the amount of beveling a little bit, as you can see there. And as I go along, I tend to change the width depending on my needs. But for now, this will be fine. Let's see. And as you can see here, since we already added the C sharpen option, and we are already using HardOps, but I'm going to also enable Boxcutter so I can draw some shapes on it. So to do so, the shortcut is Alt-W, and as you can see, there's a blue line all around the viewport and this little blue icon indicating that we're now in the Boxcutter mode. So I think I want to make like a little canal over here, and then have like a little edge piece over here, and then a central plate on the middle with some details on it. So we're going to try to separate those by just doing something like this. So now we have the edge and the central plate. I'm going to do that again so you can understand how this works. And to draw a shape on Boxcutter, you just have to hold Control and then you drag, and when you release, it's just going to cut whenever you want it. Usually, once that you've done this, it's a good idea to just press Q and do S sharpen again, so you can have the beveling around these edges, just so everything looks nicer. And I'm going to use the, well, first I'm just going to use it from the menu, and then I'm going to use the shortcut, but I'm going to use the symmetry options. I'm going to use the symmetrize on the x-axis, and of course it's doing from this end to this end, so I'm going to revert. Select everything. When you do this, there you go. I'm going to flip this 180 degrees, so now if I press Alt X, there you go. So it's symmetrized the mesh. What it's doing is creating a cut in the middle and then copying everything you have here over here and applying the mirror. You could probably manually just cut this in the middle and then apply a mirror modifier, but I find that with the mirror modifier, both the Boxcutter and HardOps plugin don't really work that well. Sometimes there are mistakes, especially if you're trying to make a cut that goes through the mirror part. So it's usually just better to use symmetrize for this sort of thing until you're done. So, alright, so there's a couple things that we need to keep in mind. For this tutorial, we're going to be making a texture for each one of these tiles. So this is going to be let's say that I eventually bake this into a flat plane, and that flat plane, which will be this piece here, is going to have a single texture, then the wall will have a single texture, and so on and so forth. This means that for this tutorial we're not going to be using tileable materials. That will be out of the scope of this tutorial. So this means that if I were to duplicate this wall and put it here, once that it's textured, you will probably see the seams in the middle over here. So usually the only way to correct that will be to use tileable materials, but since we're not going to be using that, what we'll need to do is to create edges around these parts to sort of mask out the tiling. So that's also what we're going to do here in the floor. So what we're going to do is go into edit mode, going to select this edge, this one over here, 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 and here. I'm just going to bevel them a little bit, and something like that, and Alt X again to symmetrize. And now I wanna, alright, so now you can't really see the crease that I made there. So what I'm going to do is to decrease the B width a little bit so we can see a little bit of what we're working on. So there. Now, as you can see, this is not really, the normals here are not perfect. So what we're going to do is select this edge and this one, and we'll press Q and set S sharp so we can break them down and separate them. So cool, so now we have an interesting shape to work on. So I want to start doing some more complex shapes on this. So let's see, what can we do? I push this back a little bit too. And I'm going to draw a straight line from here to here. So just select both edges and press J, and it's going to create a straight line, and then also set it to sharp. So now we sort of made the same that we did with the sides over here. I guess I could do it here as well. Alright, let's do that. So move this back a little bit. Select the first side, second, J, and then set sharp. Alright, so for starters, I think I'm going to be cutting some little holes in here. So we'll use a box cutter here. But if I were to just say, hold on, draw a little hole here, as you can see, it's going to cut through the entire thing, and I don't really want it. I just wanted to sort of cut maybe up to this height. So what I'm going to do is use the cursor to mark depth. So let's say I wanted to make it somewhere around here. I'm just going to place the cursor there maybe, and then we can go back to top view, draw. Now I'm going to release the control and press tab because I want to make these two edges smoother, and you can do so by simply dragging the middle mouse button like this. So there we go, and then I'm going to press C and you'll see that the shape will change color to constrain it to the cursor. So now I just need to double click, and yeah, I love Boxcutter. It's the best. So that's cool. Let's then symmetrize this, and I also wanted to symmetrize it on the y-axis. Now I don't really have a shortcut for it, so I'll just have to select it manually under mesh tools, symmetry options, and then Y. There we go. Coolio. So I'm probably going to be repeating this process of symmetrizing as I go along. But it's fine. I think it's a quick way to achieve this sort of thing. So let's see. I think it's time to start using C/. So we're going to try to cut some like little seams in here. Like maybe this central part was made by separate pieces. And one easy way to do it is we're going to add a plane. This will just be used for the C/ tool, and I'm just going to make it a little larger, rotate it on the y-axis by 90 degrees, and move it maybe somewhere around here. And let's see, let's try to make it an interesting shape. So I'm going to, this will make sense once you see it, and then I'll run through it again. But for now, let's do this. I'm going to, well, don't really need to get rid of that edge loop, but whatever. I'm going to take these two and going to bevel them to split them. Now, what I can do is to take this sort of like this. So what I'm trying to do is to sort of create a cut like this over this central piece. Now, an interesting thing that we can do is that we can also use the HardOps on these pieces that we're going to be using for the Boolean operations. So what I'm going to do is apply a C sharpen to this piece, and I'm going to increase the width to sort of make these areas a little smoother, so it's not like a straight line, it's more like a nice curve. So there we go, we have both shapes ready. So I'm going to select first this piece, and then the piece that is going to be affected second by holding shift, and then if you press Control slash, it's going to create a cut right there. Cool. So let's apply S sharpen again, and maybe increase the S width a little bit. We also need to do it on this piece. There we go. So let's just get rid of this for now. And as you can see, now we have this super clean cut over here. We were able to make it really easily. This is probably my favorite tool here, because if you're trying to make something like a SciFi armor or something like that, and you want to make these cuts, and you had to make it any other way, it will be a pain in the ass. But here is really easy. So now we just need to symmetrize this. So I'm going to select this piece, press Alt X, sorry. So now this piece is missing, so we'll just select this one, Alt X, and there we go. So as you can see, in just a couple minutes, and what was a flat plane is starting to look like an okayish SciFi floor. But there's more stuff we can do. I'm going to start adding more and more detail on it. See if how far we can take this without taking too long, because I also need to cover the other pieces of this. But let's see what else we can do. Alright, so I have an idea. I want to make a little cut over here. So again, yeah, I think that the cursor depth is okay. So with this selected, going to use Boxcutter again. So draw here, release control, press tab, so I can maybe work on this. So here's an interesting thing about this. You see these little square thingies here? If you press the middle button on one of them, you can just round one of these. If you do it outside, you work on everything at the same time. So what I'm going to do is do something like this, and then with the mouse wheel, you don't really need to click anything. You can move it up or down to decrease the amount of cuts or that this thing has. So I wanted to make something like this, like a straight line cut. So I'm going to once again press C to constrain it to the cursor depth, and then double click. So now we have this cool little cut over here. I think the width is too high. We'll take something like that. And one cool thing about the HardOps is that you can have different widths on different things. So for example, I can select these edges and just affect the weight of these lines. But I'm not going to do this just yet. I'm going to wait until everything's done, because every time I apply a change, I like to use the C sharpen again, and it's going to override my changes. So let's symmetrize this. Well, maybe not yet. Maybe we can do something else with this. I think that the cut is too boring. So let's move this guy something like this, maybe. I think this is too deep. And alright, maybe we can move this to inwards. I'm going to scale on the y-axis, so I can just pull this back. And there we go. So let's try adding more details. I'm going to add a loop cut there. I'm going to select this piece and just press Ctrl B. That didn't really work the way I wanted. Alright, let's symmetrize. And then select this one, press J to create a straight line. Let's see if maybe now this works a little better. There we go. Okay, cool. Maybe this too. Alright, so now we have a weird little thing there. And I don't really need these lines here, so I'm just going to clean the mesh. Sorry. So it was here on operations. You can clean mesh and get rid of all those polygons. So maybe now we have this weird shading here, so maybe we can just leave that for now. Alright, so I think I'm gonna keep working on this a little bit before I move these changes on this side. So let's see what else we can do. Alright, I know what we can do. And I'm going to add the cursor depth a little less, something like this. And now we're going to add a few holes using Boxcutter. So to do so, with Boxcutter enabled, press the D key and you get this menu. So before we were using the box cut to, sort of make this type of cut, but we can also use an end gun. So we can do something like, maybe something like that. And we're going to use the circle now. So let's see, where do I want to insert a circle? Maybe here. And as usual, with the mouse wheel, you can increase and decrease the number of loops or whatever, make it rounder. So let's say something like that. Release control, press. I can't seem to be able to constrain it to the cursor depth. That blows. Really? Well, I apologize. I thought we can do this, but apparently we cannot, or maybe I just don't know how. So we'll just do something different. I'm going to select this, maybe move it something like here. And go there. Let's go through that again so you can see what it did. So we had this over here, it looked good, everything was fine. I decided to move it somewhere around here, right? Now, as you can see, we have this problem that this little polygon is sort of going over the shape, and don't really want that. That's because it's like this big angle is going over the loop. So what we want to do is make sure the cut goes a different way. So what I did is select here, press J to make a cut there, and now I need to dissolve this little guy. So select it, and with Control X you can dissolve this, and now this whole thing is a different end-gun. So that's fixed, and what I'm going to do is add a loop cap here, move it upwards, and maybe scale it down. I don't really need this anymore, so you can just go and select here and fill it up. So there we go. Now I'm not sure what's going to happen if I leave this hole here. Sometimes you get errors, so what I'm going to do is delete this and just sort of fill this here. Alrighty then. So well, let's see if we can do something else with here. This is just a circular cut, it's a bit boring. So hold up, let me just tweak the camera clipping something lower. Yeah, there. So now we can zoom in closer. So I'm going to extrude this upwards, maybe scale it down, and I think that the width is too high. And what can we do with this guy here? Let's see, it's like here, maybe bevel this. No, that certainly didn't work. Alright, let's try something else. I'm going to add a cut over here, get rid of this, and on the opposite side, which will be here and here, I'm going to delete this vertex. And now, again, I'm selecting the first one here, and then with holding control, I'm going to go to the last one, click, and then just press F to fill. So select this first guy here, F, 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 and we can just quickly fill this up. Sharpen again, maybe increase the width a little more. And we have this sort of screwdriver thingy. Going to scale this shoe by holding control, maybe 6. So again, select this shoe, hold control, scale down to 6. And here we go, we have this sort of screwdriver thingy detail over there. Sweet. Sorry, I know I'm rushing a little bit, I get a little nervous. Haven't really done a tutorial in about a million years, so if I'm going too fast, I apologize. Alright, I'm gonna add a little cut here, just because, so I'm going to back to the box cutter tool, draw a shape here, and then I'm going to constrain it to the cursor depth, so I can get something like this. And I'm starting to like this. I'm not going to fill everything with details because I'm trying to go for a minimalist look. Hold on. This sort of mistake is because I took the camera clipping way too down, so maybe 1 centimeter is fine. There. Alright, that's fixed. Alright, so I think I'm done with this piece for now, so I'm just going to go back to Mesh Tools, Symmetry Options, and then symmetrize it on the Y-axis, so I can take these details and take them over here. Alright, so let's add some stuff to this one here. So I think I wanna do something like this. Again, I'm constraining to the cursor depth, and we have this cool little detail there. And maybe we can bevel this a little bit and then push this back. Now the width is too high, so it's kind of breaking things for me. There. And let me see. I think I'm going to scale this down a bit. So 8. Scale, holding control. Remember, on the top left corner you can see how much you're scaling. So I'm scaling to 0.8. Going to do the same here. Alright. So now this thing looks something like that. And I think that maybe we could do something with booleans now. So I'm just going to create a shape that we can work on. So let's make a cube. Let's make it way smaller. Maybe something like that, or more. Take this cube somewhere around here. And with this selected, I'm going to select the centerpiece again, and then press Ctrl- to create a boolean that will create a difference. So it will use the first selected item and cut a hole with its shape on the second one. So I haven't really applied it yet. You can see that the modifier is still here, but it's not applied, which means that we can work on this guy and move it around and sort of tweak it a bit. So we can add b width, as you can see, and maybe going to add something like this. Set it to sharp, and then move this up. Let's see what that gives us. Something like that. That looks cool. Let me push this whole thing back so we can have a nicer curve over there. That's not bad. Let's apply this. So to apply it, I'm just going to select the target mesh and then just C sharpen again, and now it's applied. So we can just get rid of these guys, and you can see here that there's some normal issues. That's because, yeah, we don't really have any sharp here, so we're going to just mark them. There we go. But as you can see, since the sharp operation is angle based, sometimes it doesn't work as expected, so we're just going to get rid of the ones along these curves. Go, and same here. No, hold on. So selecting the first one, I'm going to hold control, take it over here, so it's selecting these ones, and then here. There we go. And now the ones in the corners. Alright, so that's a lot better. Let's symmetrize it, and maybe symmetrize it in the Y. Not sure if I want to make it completely symmetrical, or maybe leave it like this. Yeah, I think that this is fun. Let's just leave it like this then. And I think I'm done with this piece for now. I'm going to be adding more detail and texturing, but for now we're going to leave it like this. So I want to break it up a little bit more from this one, because you cannot really see this cut anymore. So I can see how can we do that. Let me try selecting of these vertices on the edges, and then let's see if we can give it a different B weight. Doesn't really seem to be working for me. So we'll bevel it. Whatever. There you go. Alright, so that was probably the most unprofessional thing you'll ever see in a tutorial, but whatever, guys. It's free. So we need to fix some stuff over here. Seem to have really screwed these apps. Wait, what happened here? Oh, I see. This guy. Alright, this side's okay. Alright, so let's try again. Now. Do something like this. Alright, so that's done. And let's see what else we can do. I think I want to add a bit more of detail over here and here. So I'm gonna make another cut over here. So I'm going to need another plane, rotate on the Y, 90 degrees. We're going to scale it up a bit. And this time we're just going to make a straight line cut. So with this selected, select the second piece, Control slash, and we're set. So I can now get rid of this, and let's symmetrize. And here, unbevel this a bit. so we can separate it a bit more. There we go. And maybe this side too. We'll select the first one, then the last one, and bevel. Alright. So this is starting to look interesting. And I'm going to also do the same here. Okay, so I haven't really symmetrized this on the y-axis, so I'm going to do that now. Now we can have this detail here. Alright, cool. So this floor is starting to look good. I think it maybe it's too white, makes it hard to see. So we can give some color to this. We're not really going to be using these materials for anything, but it will be a nice visual aid. And let me think for a moment. Maybe we can enable ambient occlusion to make it easier to see. Let's see if I increase the strength, distance a little bit. There we go. Okay, so maybe now it's too strong. Take it there. Alright, so now we can see all of the details a little better with the ambient occlusion. Alright, so finally I want to add a bit more detail on this piece here. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do it directly on Blender or if I'm going to do it on Substance Painter. When it comes to small details like screws and little things like that, I like to add them on Substance because it's just a lot easier. You don't really have to deal with fixing topology and things like that. So maybe we can just leave it as it is. But let's do something else. Let's make a little cut here. Something like this. Maybe scale these two on the x-axis by 5. So now we have this little edge thingy here. Alright. This piece needs something else. I want to add something here. So let's see. Cursor depth. Maybe there. I'm gonna draw here. Press Control, and now we're going to smooth this. Not sure if maybe make it a straight line or a curve. Let's do a curve, and then proceed to go straight to the cursor depth again. I'm never going to get tired of doing that. It's so cool. So I think I want to bevel this edge a little bit. Oh, it doesn't really like that at all. So let's see. I guess I need to fix the topology. That's why it's failing, but I don't really feel like doing that now. Sorry. So maybe we can do something like this. Yeah, that looks cool and weird. Sure, why not? So I want to fix this little thing here. There we go. Nice. And I think this looks a bit boring. We can add something here on this detail. And not sure if we'll do it with the HardOps such as a traditional way. Let's try traditional. So I'm going to select this face, press I as India, and you get this sort of insert polygon tool. So maybe put this somewhere around here, then extrude it upwards, scale it down a notch. And what can we do here? Okay, I want to make this edge round. So to do so, first let's sharpen this shoe. And then I'm going to select this one and demote it. So now I can make it round. So I'm just going to bevel it and add a couple of subdivisions. And that's good. So you can see these lines, but this is just because of the ambient occlusion. As you can see, if I disable it, it looks round. But whatever, let's ignore it. And something else, I want to do something else here. Let's move the cursor depth upwards again. Maybe draw something like this. Here. And maybe bevel this one, why not? Take it back, as well as this. And what tool is here? Here, okay. And I want to insert something here, so I want to make it center, so I'm just going to select this, press Shift S, and snap the cursor to select it. So now the cursor is there. We can create a new cube, which is going to be way too large. Scale it down. Now, as before, select the cube, then the piece, Control minus. And now I'm going to work on the cube a little bit to try to see if I can make something interesting here. X. What can we do? What can we do? I'm sure it's something fun. Let's do a couple edge loops here, then select each edge. Control V again. Then select them again. Control B one more time. Now I can take this guy here and this guy here, pull it up like this. Oh, maybe not that much. Maybe something like this. It's fine. And that looks okay. Alright, I think I'm done. Let's apply this and goodbye. Alright, so symmetrize, and I'm going to symmetrize it on the other end. So again, Q, mesh tools, symmetrize on the y-axis. Alright, so I think I'm going to call this done for now. It's certainly not the greatest SciFi floor you'll ever see, but I think it's good enough. So let's see. I don't think I'm going to bake this into a flat plane because it's the year 2017, almost 2018, and I think that we can afford to have a few polygons. So what we're going to do now is to duplicate this mesh. We're going to say this is our high poly mesh, and we're going to duplicate it and create a low poly that will be optimized, and we'll have topology that we can use. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. We'll just duplicate everything. I'll take it to another layer, and now we'll work on this one. I don't think I need these to be separate pieces anymore, so I'm just going to merge everything. And let's see. We don't really need any of this anymore. So there we go. So now it's flat. And right, there's several problems that we need to fix if we want to use this. We'll need to use snap to merge these things. It's gonna be painful, but I think it's also a good learning exercise. So let's see. Yeah. Alright, so this is way too round. So let's select something like this. Let's see if yay, that worked. Ooh. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, X, and delete edge loops. And now I want to draw straight lines through this. There's two ways you can do it. You can just select here and press J, but it will take too long. So what we're going to do is simply delete this, select this edge here, and then press F to fill. Now the problem is this, I just noticed we have this little thing here, so we're going to dissolve it. Remember, just select it and Control X. So now, there we go. So that's a flat polygon there. There you go. So, so now we're looking for any place that may or may not have hang-ons on it. So for instance, these two, we can join them. And yes, this is a manual work. I really haven't figured out the way to speed this up. So it's annoying, I know. Now these two aren't exactly aligned, so I'm going to select these two, scale on the y-axis, press 0, and same here, scale y-axis 0, and as you can see, it's joining them. Let me show you what it's exactly what it's doing. So say we have these two. If you look at them from the top, they are not aligned. So we select both, and we scale on y, press 0, and it will align them. So let's see. Now you don't really need to triangulate every single thing, because every single engine, when you import, takes your mesh and then triangulates it. So I'm going to edge light this up here. So you just want to make sure that you're when you're doing this, you're fixing the pieces that you believe that will be the most problematic, the ones that will not really work or will cause issues when you import them. But it's not necessary to fix every single thing that you have here. Alright, so what I did there, before I have an edge that was over here, so I move it up by using edge light and then selected everything, W, and remove doubles, so I got rid of that extra little polygon over there. So I think I'm just going to fix this here. Let's see. What can we do? Alright, so I'm not going to fix this entire piece because that will probably take too long, and I think that by now you probably got it. So I'm just going to finish this, and we'll just leave it as it is. And we'll just try to make sure that this will work. So I'm not going to fix every single little bit of a topology, but what I do want is this to be used as a game asset, which means that these holes here need to be fixed. Now, a quick and easy way to do that is to just use the read snapping. So we just look here, move it up. This one up. We'll probably want to select these two as 0. No? 0? Well, we'll fix that later. Let's see what else. We don't need to fix that side. And same thing over here. We're down, down, down. And now we're going to snap to vertex. So this one over here. This one over here. 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 Okay, so I think that will probably do the trick. Let's try something real quick. Let's apply an array modifier and see how these stack up. So on this side it's okay. I'm gonna add another one, but this time here. Let's just try to make sure that there are no gaps. So there's a little gap in here. I'm gonna have to fix that. And here, Alright. So we need to fix that. And I think I'm just going to do this side and then symmetrize it and delete this detail from here. That way I can just save some extra time. So let's see, we're going to have to use snap again. It's fine there. What's going on? This is weird. So it is aligned, and this is a straight line, which means that something else is in the line. What? Sorry about this. I was hoping this will just work out of the gate, but this is weird. Okay, let's symmetrize on y-axis as well. What's going on here? Bastard, you're messing up my tutorial. That's not cool. Look at this. Let me just remove doubles. I'm hoping that's it. So symmetrize on X and then also symmetrize on Y. Please work. Alright, so this thing hates me, clearly. I think I'm just going to leave this as it is for now. Move on to a different piece and then I'll just pause the video, try to figure out what's going on and show you how I fixed it. So for now, let's call this floor piece done. So let's see, what will be next to call this really done? I guess I will need to finish fixing the topology and then creating UVs for it. And I'm not going to do that with every single piece because this will be the longest tutorial ever. But I think I'm going to do it with this single piece. So how about we do that? Alright, so we have a gap here. We don't really want that gap. So we're going to try see if we can fix this. Yeah, well, the thing is that this really wasn't intended to be used as a low poly. I was originally just going to bake this to a flat plane. Otherwise, I would have done this with a little more care. Do I back down? Do I just try to continue fixing this? I guess we can try to fix it. So let's see, let's try find areas that are problematic. So, so this part here, this one here, here. So I'm thinking that the easiest way to fix this is just to can delete this, then redo it. Alright, I'm going to press K to use the knife cut tool, and then, hold on, where am I cutting? That's important. Let me just get rid of ambient occlusion. It's starting to make things a little hard to see. I can never remember where the option is. There. So I'm gonna make a cut from here to maybe here. Press enter. Then another one from this edge to say about here. So now we can do this. There you go. So that part is fixed. And we need to also fix this one here. So let's get rid of these guys. Gonna slide this edge a little bit. Then just alright, so we're going to have to do something similar here. So let's see. Knife, we'll do a cut here. And then from here, we'll do a cut over there. Alright, need to add a sharp there. Are we missing sharpness anywhere else? Maybe one there. That's good. Alt X, then also symmetrize on Y. Alright, so that gap is fixed now. And there's another gap here. Thankfully, this one's a lot easier to fix. You could just snap this probably. Either way will work. But let's just do it this way. And hold X, symmetrize Y. Okay, so I think that fixes all of the gaps we have on this piece, so that's good. Did that magically fix the gap we have over here? No. Why? I think I know why. And it's not a problem with the mesh, it's a problem with the beveling. Yeah, that was it, damn it. So the bevel was making the edges rounder, which was throwing the array off, because the way the array modifier works is that, say I move this little guy even a little bit up, you see it's going to push it. So that was the problem there. Good, I fixed that. Yay! So yeah, right. So I think that the only thing that will be left from here is to fix the topology, which will just... It's the process I was doing before, so maybe you'll have to select here, here, cut, here, cut, cut. This is probably the most painful part of this, but honestly, I really haven't figured out a way to speed it up. I think it's just something you have to deal with. Usually, if you were just going to make a high poly model for a render with HardOps, you don't really need to do this, but since I have intentions of bringing this to a game engine, I need to fix it. Now, Substance Painter didn't used to support endguns, but it does now, so that's not really our problem. Our problem is that, as I mentioned, when I take this to Unity, the engine is going to triangulate the model automatically on import. The problem is that you don't really have control on how it's going to do so. So sometimes you'll get these really weird smoothing errors on the mesh, and we really don't want that, so that's why we're doing this. Also, since this is a hard surface asset that is not going to be animated, it doesn't really matter if you have triangles. Triangles are okay. I know that people tend to get really freaky about triangles, but again, if the mesh is not going to be animated, there's no problem. So I'm just going to fix some of the most obvious and problematic areas. Not going to do the whole thing, but just fix some of these. I'm going to edge slide this and slide it here. I think I'm gonna get rid of the array modifiers because I think they're slowing things down a bit. Yep. So select everything and remove doubles. So now these two are merged. And maybe this here, there. Is this yeah. Anything else going on? Anything else that's bad? Well, usually I'll have to fix this. This is the boring part. Again, if you have a suggestion for a better way to do this, oh god, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Just let me know. Not saying I have all the answers. To sharp this because that was kind of a weird shape. Yeah, there. And don't really like the way this is. let's move this little guy here down a bit. Usually I will use something like grid snapping to make sure that this is perfectly straight and then not just eyeball it, but since this is a tutorial piece, I'm just going to leave it there and pretend I did a cleaner job there. Pew pew pew. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna click quit. Nope, 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 nope. See, it's going here. Alright, just going to try to finish this area. And then we'll do UBs. There. This one here, here, here. And the same on this side. Here, 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 and here. And here. Okay, good. So that part's fixed. No angles over here that I can see. To be honest, I'm not that far off. I guess I could just finish cleaning this up. I know, it's a pain. But I think it's, since I'm doing this tutorial, it's better if you see the whole process. Even if it's boring, you can just speed this up if you know what you're doing or don't really care for this part. I think I'm going to almost there. Usually I have to fix this part, but what I'm going to do, Toad, we don't really need this here, so I'm going to edge light up. And same here. Now select everything, remove doubles, and we need to mark these guys as sharp again. There, a little bit of optimization. Maybe this one too. There we go. Alright, so this area is done. I will need to finish this and this, but I think I'm just going to leave them like that. So let's just symmetrize X and Y. And then, as I mentioned, I want to make this let's do this one too. Alright, so I'm going to select the entire range, press F. So that's the biggest handgun we have there. Symmetrizing on X, so we have a cut on the middle. And we just need to draw a couple of lines here, here, and here. Then Alt X again. And there we go. Sweet. Alright, so let's just say this is done. It's time for us to make UVs. And I guess that Once the UVs are done, I'm going to make a quick bake, show you how the piece is done, and then just click quits for this first part of the tutorial, and then do another part with the rest of the items. So let's do UVs. And for the UV part, I'm going to disable, and on the mesh display area, I'm going to disable sharp bevel. That way I can just see the edges, and I'm going to be working on one half since the other one is just it's going to be symmetrized anyway. So I'm gonna make a split here. To mark seam. So I guess I should explain the logic of UV seams in case you're not very familiar with it. But the idea is that you want to break it down on the areas that have most tension, and you have to think of this as maybe if it was gift wrapped. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And on this part, this is flat, so it's okay. Just put the piece of gift wrap over there, it's going to be fine. But here you have this little curve. So if I were to take a piece of paper and try to grab it, this part will look weird. So what we do is we cut this, and we also need to think about the way this is going to fold. So I think I'm going to make a cut here, seam, and maybe little cut over here. Control E, mark seam. If you mark something that you didn't want to, you can select it, Control E, and clear seam. So in this case, we don't want to do that. I'm gonna split this, I think. Okay, that's just the grid line. Thought there was a weird polygon on there. So split this here. This one over here. It's probably gonna be a lot of tension over here. Oh look, another thing we have to fix. So mark seams. This thing is weird. That looks fine, sort of. Whatever. Alright. Maybe like that. Alright, seam away. So maybe I can do this. Cut like this. Definitely going to split this. Well, I'm not sure if I need this. And let's see, where else? Where's here? Definitely. Here, as you notice, I haven't fixed this part, but I don't really think that I'm going to do that here. Whoops. Mark seam. Okay. Well, I don't really need this here. I don't like having too many separate pieces, so if I can, I try to take them down a notch. Okay, just noticed that I'm going to have to redo this part later. Whatever. So we are definitely going to separate this one. I'm holding control so I can just do this faster. That looks good. Good enough for me. Mark seam. This little guy here is not going to unwrap well, so we'll split it up. And let's just do this quickly. And mark seam. Oh, by the way, we don't really need the bevel modifier on this one, since it's the low poly. These edges here. Maybe this edge over here. This one's not needed, but we do need to add these guys here. Oh damn. Look at this. This is bad. I'm gonna use edge slide to fix this. I just selected those two and scale by 0. I'll do the same here. This one, scale 0, enter. Now we'll select everything, W, remove doubles. You can see here that it removed 15 vertices. And this one, let's just draw a line. There. And there. Alright, so now we can go back to UVs. Damn it. Where else? Here, 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 here. Here, 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 here. Over there. Alright, so that should unwrap properly. Certainly hope. Do I want to split those? Nah, I think I'm fine. I'm gonna make a cut here, I think. No, not really. But I am going to make a cut here, 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 definitely here. This can be fine. Well, we'll make a test to see how this piece unwraps. Seam. Mark seam. Okay, I think that's done. Let's symmetrize on both axes. See how, let's do a quick unwrap, see how it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll fix it some more, and then finally I'll fix this. So select everything and press U, unwrap. Alright, so right now we're just looking for parts like this that look messed up. Look at this, yeah. This didn't do well. So ideally we want everything to be just like nice straight lines, which means that there are tension points somewhere that are affecting the way these things unwrap. So I'm going to have to make a cut here. I wanted to avoid it, but doesn't seem like I have a choice. Mark seam there. That should do. Here and here as well. Mark seam. fine. We'll split this. Try to decrease tension whenever there's a round section. And also here. Seam and this one here. Okay, I think that will do. Let's symmetrize. Save and unwrap again. Let's see if this is better. It's not really. It's not better. So we have to keep going at it until it's fixed. All right, let's see. We can figure out which part is what. I know what this is, but I don't know what these guys are. So there's an option here. This one, where you can just sort of select an area and it will show you what it is. Okay, so let's work on this UV island. What's wrong with this? This should be unwrapping okay. So if it's not, it's because triangulation is messing it up. Yeah, you can see it here. Yay! Video games are fun. Let me see if I can avoid having to fix every single little thing. Just try to find the biggest problematic areas. So I can just get rid of as much tension as I can. So maybe this one goes here, maybe this one goes here, this one goes over there, and then here, maybe here, maybe here. So symmetrizing again. I'm going to see if I can fix this part, and if I did, I'll just do the same with everything else. So again, select everything and wrap. And now it looks like it's supposed to. Yay! Good, good. So this part is fixed. We just need to fix this one now. Just this one here. Bastard. Alright, so I don't think I need to do everything. I think that this right here should do. I think that you won't really have any problems with the triangulation there. So let's see. So try blah 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 blah. Unwrap. Alright, there you go. Yeah, there. Okay, this looks good. So now the only other piece, let's see, anything weird looking here? No, no, no. Not really. So the only part that's giving me problems is here. Oh, let's see. I'm going to select it and I'm going to press Shift H to hide everything else. So I can just work on this. What's going on? Why aren't you not keen? Okay, so that's really the only problem I see. Symmetrize on Y, then unwrap. Still bad, still bad. Why are you doing that? H. Oh, by the way, let me show you what I did there. And if you have the face select mode and you press L on one of these, oh, that's the J, L, is going to select the entire UV island. So that's a good way to do that. If you use any other, it selects the entire thing, but if you use the face select mode, it only selects the UV island, which makes this sort of thing I'm doing now a lot easier. So optimization time, let's see. Can we bring this down here? Yeah. To remove those doubles, can we move this here and this one here? Well, maybe we'll leave one here there in the center. Okay, so really that should do. Damn you! Damn you! Why are you getting so near? I mean, it's a flat piece. Huh. Well, let's ignore that for now. Sprung. I guess I can just use a different method for unwrapping, but I kind of wanted to get this working properly. That would have been nice. Not sure why it's been twisted around like that. Okay, well, just call it good. So there's nothing new here. You've seen me do this before, so Control T to triangulate, and that's fine. Alright, let's try to unwrap this, and what we're going to do, since everything else is working okay, but this piece, I'm going to select this, hide everything, look it from the top, and then unwrap, project from view. There you go, that's what I wanted. So now, what I need to do is make sure that everything has the same size. Oh, Control P should do that. Pack. And there was another option, average Iceland scale. There we go, there we go. And now I want to pack this, but the packer for Blender sometimes isn't the best, as you can see. So what we're going to do, I have a plugin that I'm using called Shot Packer. It's a paid add-on, but it's so worth it. So this is it. I'm just going to, let's see, start pack. It's going to process a little bit and find the best way to pack this to make sure that we maximize the use of UV space. So let's see what it does. Yeah, I think it's taking too long because my recording program is using some of my CPU. So there you go. I'll have to just be patient. Here you go, buddy. Going faster now. Almost done. There you go. Oh, I love this plugin so much. Look at this, look at this. It fills the holes with UV Island. This is the best. Look at this. Oh, so lovely. I will say that probably, oh, yeah. I think that the islands are too spread apart and maybe I should fix that. And that's a pain in the ass, but can I do? no, I have like a million plugins, sorry. Margin here. Alright, well, I'm just going to leave the margin as it is. I want to wrap this up, but the UVs look fine. So this is our low poly model. It has UVs. It's more or less optimized. So we just need to create a material for it with a name. Usually when it comes to naming conventions, I like to do something like floor underscore the area, which is going to be SciFi corridor. And then the name of this specific floor tile, which is going to call it 2x2. All right. So how about we try to make a quick bake and see how the end result turns out. I'm going to export this as an FBX to the desktop. Make sure that I'm only exporting the selected object, and we'll export this piece, and then we'll go back here to our high poly model, the one that has the bevel apply, and we'll export this one. Just change the name a little bit, and it's substance time. So if everything goes well, when we bake, we'll see that all of our edges will be smoother, and we'll have nice shapes to work on materials. Oh, by the way, if you're a Substance Painter user, you'll notice that my shelf is missing. It's because it's over here on my other monitor. So don't worry about that. So we're just going to select a new one, select our first model. I think I'm just going to use a 2K texture for this. That's it. Alright, so imported well, no issues there. It looks pretty nice, I think. And let's bake it. So we're going to select the second piece, and I like to increase this a little bit sometimes. We don't really need an ID map, we're not using that. We don't really need thickness, and we're not really going to be using software scattering for this. And the output size is going to be 2K, and we don't really need anti-aliasing, but I'm going to use it anyway. Let's bake. So hopefully this won't take too long. Now it's going fast. You bastard. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm glad this is happening. As you can see, there are errors all over the place. Well, oh, they're all gone. Oh my god. Well, I can still see some of the errors. The thing is that when you bake, it also triangulates the high poly model, and sometimes that generates errors, and sometimes those errors are baked into the mesh. But this looks pretty nice. Well, that's just because resolution isn't that high. But from this distance, looks good. Let's try to drop a smart material on it. See how it works. It should detect the edges and everything. Let's wait for the list to load, and I'm going to use one of my favorites, which is the Steel Medieval Stylize, or whatever, however you're supposed to pronounce that. And it seems to be taking the edges pretty well. So that's good. Very good. Alright, well, I think, how about we texture this? Just for kicks. And we'll finish the tutorial with just this piece, and then we'll do separate tutorials for the walls and ceilings and the other remaining pieces. And that way, hopefully I can get some feedback from you. So if you thought that I was going too fast on something or doing something wrong, or you have any questions for the next piece, I can just try to go over it in more detail, and also ignore the parts like cleaning up and everything else that I've done on this. So One thing I want to do is, like I mentioned, you can see it there and there. And when you triangulated the high poly model, it created some errors. So I'm not going to go and manually fix the high poly model again, just like I did with the low poly, because that will be insane. So what I'm going to do is just take this guy, duplicate it, take it to another layer, and this guy will to be with. Doesn't really seems to be doing a lot. Why not? Come on. Alright. This sucks. I was hoping it will just work. Seems to be working, right? I mean, yeah, it's doing stuff. It's just not taking the width. Is there something wrong with the scale? No. Rotation's fine too. Not sure what these options do really. Just tend to use whatever hops leads. Alright, well. Why you do this? Why you do this to me? Well, whatever. We'll just leave it like this then. So, we're going to be using symmetry, just so I can paint on it. And I'm not going to spend too much time texturing this, but I know that I want to make this slightly rougher. And I'm gonna do, let's see, let's use a different material. Maybe steel. Let's see what steel look like. Not so good. Another type of steel. Meh. Hold on, I have a few cool looking materials. Let's see this guy. Alright, so we're gonna add a black mask on it. Press 4 to switch to polygon, select mode, and select the areas that I want to paint with this mask. This got a little bit screwed up when it got triangulated, so usually I will go back, fix it, and then bake again. That's what you should do, but I'm just going to leave it like that for now, because I want to show you something else. I mentioned that when it comes to doing little details like screws and things like that, I like to make them on SumStat Painter, so I'm going to show you how I do it, because there is a special technique to it. Alright, so here, here, First I'm gonna, no. There, so there. Alright. So this part's done. I think that I would like to have more contrast on it, so I'm going to change the paint color to the orange. something with a bit more saturation. And we decrease the roughness a bit. Yeah, it's gonna look like painted metal, maybe. Alright, so I want to do one more for here. Let's see if I can find some type of plastic I like. Metal painted, let's try that one. Okay, looks good, but I wanted to make it cleaner on this guy. So, what's the one that's doing the scratches on it? Wait. That looks better, and that's it. Oh, this is the wear. Okay. Let's try to take the wear level down a little bit. Maybe here, let's play with the contrast. I want it on the edges, but I don't really want the actual surface to be so scratched. Okay, so black mask on this. Hold up, black mask. Now, we'll go back to polygon select mode. There's really not enough contrast on these two, so I'm going to try to fix that now. Alright, let's see. Maybe what I'm going to do is saturate this a bit and decrease roughness, maybe. Not quite digging how this is looking. Maybe, yeah, alright, there you go. This one, I'm not entirely sold on this color pattern. Alright, so let's call it, let's say that this is done. I'll probably tweak the colors again once that I take this to the game engine and see how it looks, but for now we're going to make a dark floor, probably a lighter wall, and probably a dark ceiling. I like to have a contrast between floor and ceiling. So what I'm going to do now is add a few details to the normal map channel, to the high channel, and then I'm going to bake them so that the smart material can affect it. So the way to do that is first I create a fill layer. I'm going to disable everything but height, and usually if I want to carve the details I go minus, and if I wanted something to pop up I use and the other way, and usually around 4 is a good measure. So now we'll do a black mask. I'm going to go to my alpha. I have a lot of custom alphas. Let's do a bolt, and let's see, where do we want this? Want to make it small. One here, 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 and here. I really wish some stun painter had symmetry in more than one axis, but it doesn't, and I think that sucks. So for now we'll just have to eyeball it, which I dislike. but I have no choice. Here, somewhere around here. Alright, so that's enough for the bolts. Let's do something else. See what else we have here. Alphas. Let's do for here, this part. So I'm going to disable perspective with F5 you switch to perspective view and F6 switch to orthographic view. That's pretty cool. And we're gonna add a little detail here. Of course we have to add it here too. And let's see what else can we do. Maybe we can, yeah, there's an edge piece here. So this will have to be 70 degrees, and we'll add this here and here. So as you can see, for this type of small detail, this is really useful. My only complaint is really symmetry. So of course you can't really see these details too much right now, but once that we baked, we'll be able to see them a lot more. So usually I will continue adding more details to this, but for now I think I'm just going to say this is done. So what we want to do now is to make sure that these details that we just added are affected by smart materials, so that they are more integrated with the model. So what we're going to do is, export these textures as they are. Alright, and all we need to do is import the normal map. So I just drag it to my shelf. I'm going to set it to texture, only to this project, import. And now here where we have our bake maps, I'm going to look for the texture I just imported, the normal map, and drag it and replace the current normal map. Alright, so that's done. Doesn't really change as much, but if we disable this, you'll see that the details are still there because now they're part of the normal map. So what we need to do now is bake again. This time we're going to get rid of the high poly mesh and we're going to disable the normal map channel. So what it's going to do is that instead of baking from a high poly model, it's going to bake from the currently existing normal map. So let's do that. Let's give it a second. Okay, so as you can see here, this has really worked, and I'm sort of regret using 2K. I should have used a higher texture size, but whatever. We'll probably see it from like this distance, so that's good. So okay, I think I'm going to finish the tutorial here. When it comes to technical parts, I think that I'm showing you plenty of useful stuff. And I don't like the materials or the colors, so I'm going to work on it, but I'm just going to work on that privately. And on the next tutorial, we're going to do the walls, hopefully the pillar piece that I showed you at the beginning, and maybe the ceiling. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do everything at once, but probably I won't walk you through the entire process again, since it's basically the same thing we did with the floor. But I'm hoping this was useful. Please let me know your thoughts. Let me know if something wasn't clear, if I was going too fast, if you would like me to teach you more basics about the controls in Blender and Substance Painter, or if you already know that, if you just want me to skip it, and well, whatever you want, just let me know what you want for the next tutorial. And Well, hope you liked it. Thank you.